come on through. This is my office. I keep some gems in here. Somewhat of a retrospective of my career back in the footwear industry from 2000 to 2004, where I worked on all the Tracy McGrady, Adidas basketball, Kobe Bryant product. This is actually a sample of the Kobe 3 that was never released from Adidas. You see a sample right here, logo that was created for Kobe Bryant. This logo was actually made for the Kobe 2. It was called the profile logo. It was like his profile, but animated. And then this was the Kobe 3, which came with a whole range of apparel that unfortunately never came out. So yeah, this is the Kobe 2 that this logo did get created for, and it's a Kobe Bryant action figure with the full head to toe outfit, including the Kobe 2s.
I've never seen these before.
Those are pretty special. Those were actually the wear test sample for the 750. Rachel Muscat, who worked very closely on this project, posted some pictures from the fit and wear session in Mexico, where it's like Kanye and Virgil. I remember Big Sean was there, and Pusha T was there. But yeah, this was supposed to come out in 2015 at NBA All-Star Weekend. But I don't know if you remember, he held up that shoe on the plane after he'd come to Portland to visit me and Nick to see the final sample. And when he pushed out the delivery of that shoe from Black Friday to the following year All-Star, this shoe fell off the table. So part of why I kept it was because it was the one that I always felt should have come out. I love the metal mesh. I love the different sort of details on it. I believe this is reflective in the Boost insert Adidas Trefoil logo. At one point, this was on the back of one of the jackets he was wearing on the Yeezy tour. And then, you know, this is special product just because when we were out in Cody, Wyoming, this was the focus of the team, and this shoe obviously created an entire wave of interest and continued to breathe newness into that.
I always say my two favorite shoes are the Nike Foamposite and the Foam Runner. I wear them every single day.
I wear the Yeezy slides like pretty much every day,
yeah.
But I definitely scuffed up the pair of these that I do wear, yeah. And yeah, I definitely rock them consistently. These I worked on as well from 2002 to 2004. This is actually the original confirmation sample for the Jam Master J shoe that we created when I was at Adidas to commemorate him and to provide for his legacy. And this was the Maurice Menarez, Mike Klein, myself, and Eric Blam and the Run DMC team created this to commemorate their 35th anniversary. Down here we got some special stuff from Pharrell Williams. The Human Race product that he built with Adidas was one of the greatest experiences I've had working with an individual, and Rachel was really a key driver on this one as well. And she and Pharrell's team came up with this concept and built this amazingly comfortable product that drove a entire business and demand for the brand back in the day.
We got Converse, you're talking
Yeah,
there.
so I was at Converse for 2 years. These are samples from 2004. And this March 29th, 1982 was the year that Michael Jordan hit the game winner for North Carolina. And originally, a version of this shoe was gonna sit in the very first Defining Moments pack, because I went to Converse 2 years after they're acquired by Nike as part of the let's figure out how we can build this thing with the most strategic version of it possible. And so these products were created for that pack, but ultimately were never released due to, I think it was just too early to start kind of cross doing those things together. But I did get to work on the product, and it was a pleasure to work on it. Obviously, being a Chicago guy and a Michael Jordan fanatic, it was like really cool to be even proximate to that brand from a project perspective. So at Adidas, I oversaw a team that was responsible for seeding products and for celebrity and influencer relationships. And this predates when influencer was even a word.
Right.
We started working with Big Sean after the Get You Some video came out, because I saw that Get You Some video and I was like, oh shit, this dude's produced by Kanye. Mike Brinkley managed him. Point being is that he had the right team around him and he had the right look. And honestly, like working with him was instrumental in Adidas, like establishing a position in relevance and culture. The first thing we did with him was him and Derrick Rose for that first Derrick Rose signature shoe. And Big Sean, we put the I Do It track behind it, and then they met and they developed a real relationship. So yeah, so they sent me this because we had done so much with him. It was just really cool working with Sean and his team.
So I noticed Big Sean, obviously, that's right here.
Oh yeah, that's a special one. After we started working with him for years, we then started working with Ye. Yeah. And so they did the video for I Don't Fuck With You, and they made a video where Adidas Football helped us organize uniforms and jerseys and cleats for everyone on shoot in a very short time period. And so yeah, I just kept this as a memento of that moment, because that era was a really special time.
We have these.
Yeah.
Wex owns a pair of big red boots. Have you worn them?
I have not.
Are we going to wear them right now?
I am not. And not because I don't appreciate them, because I don't want to hurt mischief. They were so cool to send me these. I gotta say, like, that same sort of trajectory you go from like the holy shit, I've never seen that before, to wow, they really pulled that off, is the same arc as like, you know, a few other people we're pretty familiar with. So I give them all the credit in the world from the standpoint of what they've been able to do.
I know you have a special room that you're about to show us too, right?
Yes. That's funny though, because the shoes you're wearing are the only Yeezys ever created that I don't have. And yet those were created in Cody.
Well, I'm glad I wore them.
So I watched those get developed and they eluded me. So it's funny seeing those. Those are the one pair you will not see in this room.
Oh, okay.
This is the sort of like Yeezy shrine, I guess. As we built the shoes, I started needing a place to store them, and I wanted to have a place where I could showcase it and just kind of like see it all living and breathing. It was sort of the first time you could see all season 1.
Favorite pair to wear in here?
Man, changes daily. These were my like go-tos for a long time. But I gotta be honest, like recently, I think this one's the one. I think you could wear this today, same as you could have when it came out. I also remember the first time I saw this was on Pusha T's feet at Kanye's birthday in 2018, and it was just awesome to see it.
What are these? Oh man.
I don't know if those ever came out. So these are like the Yeezy cleats that Adidas made. It's really, I think Von Miller wore these on an NFL game.
Those are crazy.
And then the lower cut,
I've seen these.
The 350s. But yeah, I don't know if the black ones, people have ever seen those, but I don't know if those came out.
Oh, there's sample.
So those no one's ever seen before. I wasn't necessarily gonna pull these out, but these are both, I call them like 350 1.5 because they never came out, and he went to the V2. This was, you know, fully exposed midsoles and just playing with different creative boost interpretations and different, you know, mesh. And then this was more of like just another materialization with some different, just so you could see how it looked with different guns and stuff. I wasn't necessarily gonna pull these out, but like these are sick. So maybe you guys think about how to use these. Good eye. Good fucking eye.
We got some Nikes in here.
Yeah, they sent me those Stussy joints. I've always been a fan of what Stussy does. Those are from the TEDx community when I spoke at TEDx in 2015. It was a really amazing experience, and I've never actually worn them just because I think they're nice. These are from Unless Collective. These shoes you can bury in your garden. They completely decompose. Every single aspect of them, Unless Collective. Check them out.
Have you worn these?
I have worn them once. A lot of these shoes, I take pictures of them because I appreciate them from an artistic standpoint, but I mean, like, I'm not exactly the age of the demo. Styling and all those things, like, I'll leave that to the consumer target that they're actually going after.
Any specific pair that just really sticks out to you because of a story in the past or something that just means a lot to you?
Every single shoe does, but I think that there's two that come to mind. One is this one. I remember I was riding down a riverboat in Portland with my family, and I got a text from the guy who was running the business named Jim Anfuso, and he was like, yo, I was just checking resale, and there's a rumor out there that we're gonna relaunch this shoe by Yeezy Mafia. And I said, are we relaunching the shoe? Because those guys, you know, their hit rate's pretty fucking good, bro. So anyway, so Jim says, can you dispel that through your socials? So I tweeted #fake news. And I never interacted with the Yeezy Mafia until like when I left Adidas and started to just kick it with sorry, Yeezy Mafia, but that was a moment where he got pretty incensed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then this one is actually, I think, what you're asking about. So the reason this orange stripe is on this shoe is because we were in the office and Kanye was looking at samples of this shoe. Actually, there's two cool things about this shoe. That week, David Bowie had passed away. And so Kanye was showing us some messages that he had been sending to people around that, and he saw out of the corner of his eye the inner lining of a bomber jacket, and he basically, in honor of David Bowie, because of that David Bowie art with the paint on his face, added that to the shoe in real time. And that's how it ended up on there.
Does anybody else know?
I don't think so. The other thing that's kind of cool about this shoe is that you see how this print is the way it's on? That was just how the samples came in. And when we saw it, we were like, oh shit, Kanye's gonna fucking dig that. Because it's like, it's just different, and like, just to me it reads like someone creating a science fiction movie of the future and what it would look like with like, you know, like a RoboCop version, you know, it just like had that element to it. I don't know if that came out right, but the reverse nature of the print, and sure enough, he approved it. Each one of those, obviously he held up the brown version of the shoe and changed the shoe, and all that stuff from the airplane, which is the shoe me and Nick had given. I mean, it's endless, man.
Yeah,
it's fucking endless. It's amazing to think that this whole thing was born off of a couple thousand pairs of one style, and then in 4 years became what it became, and then, you know, things evolved to where they were, which is unfortunate. Hopefully there's something that comes along that captures that energy again, that gives people that exciting feeling that they got when this thing caught. Like I said, I'm a Chicago dude. I grew up out there. I was obsessed with Michael. I remember every single pair of those shoes I bought, and when we started working with Ye, it was like the first time you caught that, you know, and it was just special.
When you talk about like that moment, was it the same feeling when it was happening too?
Yeah, I remember like every single bit of it felt like a piece of history was being written under our feet. I remember like I went to season 8 in Paris. I remember seeing him out there. He's like, yo, I didn't think you were coming. And I was like, bro, I wasn't gonna miss this. Like when they did the good music, I know this is like a minimal thing, and it's most people hear this and be like, that didn't matter to them, but to me it did, which was right after one of the fashion shows. I believe it was the one out on Roosevelt Island or Randall's Island, whichever island that was. And after it was over, he was like, yo, we're going over to SOB's to do the good music show. And I was like, oh man, I'm just like really tired. I don't know if I'm gonna make it. And he was like, well, I know Jon Wexler is a student of culture and will not miss this moment. And I was like, you're right, I'm coming. And like there were always those things that were just like, so there were a lot of times where I was like on the fence about doing something, and he would just be like, are you, just like a little bit of, are you kidding me? You gotta see this. And you know, just being a part of that. I remember one time it was like 5 to midnight and my phone rang here. And I knew he was in New York, and I knew that he was driving through, it was outside Webster Hall that night, where there was like throngs of kids like on the car, and it was him, Kim, and Travis driving around trying to get to Webster's Hall so he could perform. And I remember looking at my phone saying to my wife, like, I wonder if he's calling to see if I can help him get permits right now. So I pick up my phone and I'm like, what's good? And he's like, I just want to share this cultural moment with you. This is pretty cool. And I was like, man, this is fucking amazing. You know, obviously seeing what happened now and all the distance that is the current situation. You look at that and you're like, it's a shame. But having been a part of it for the time period I look back at all of that as like an amazing, amazing experience. And yeah, there was some difficult times, but I've always believed that through conflict you can create closer bonds if you are able to reconcile your differences in a way where both people feel heard. And it was just an amazing experience.